What's going on, everybody? It's PapaStones coming back with another video. So we're at the end finally. This is probably going to be a shorter one. We're going to go over all the black, white, and neutral cards. We're just going to jump right into it. We have the Incinerator Trooper, 2 cost, 2/2. While attacking, this unit deals combat damage before the defender. So it's basically like a Han Solo shoot first style thing. It's on a 2/2 body, so that's definitely not great. I guess if you were playing like Grand Moff Tarkin or something like that, maybe Gideon, you could bump it up and it wouldn't be as horrible, but baseline, it's just not well statted enough. So we're going to give it a 3. Then you got Ruthless Assassin, another 2 cost, 3/3 with Overwhelm. And when played, deal 2 damage to a friendly unit. It's a bounty hunter, which is kind of nice, and underworld, so it could be worse. But excuse me. Generally speaking, unless you're playing grit decks, you don't want to damage your own units, so that kind of sucks. I mean, at least you can damage yourself, right? It's not the worst card I've ever seen, I guess. It's better than the last one, I think, just because of the 3/3 stat line and the fact it gets Overwhelmed. So, I'm okay giving this a 4, but still not a great card. Then you got Black Sun Starfighter, a 3 cost spaceship with Sentinel and 3/2. Don't hate it, don't love it kind of thing. Like, as a standalone unit, it doesn't ever really feel that good. But a 3 attack Sentinel is okay, and the fact that you could summon this off of a Vader is kind of nice. But other than that, it's also not the worst. Like, I think it'll actually see some meta play. I could be wrong about that, but the 3/2 Sentinel is pretty nice for the defensive aspect of the card. I mean, you'd prefer it has more health, right? But it's at least okay for just a mono black card. We're going to give this one a 5. And then moving on, we actually got a good card. You got Toro Calican, which is a 3 cost 3/5 black unit. When you play another bounty hunter unit, you may deal 1 damage to it, and if you do, ready this unit. Use this ability only once each round. 3/5 stat line's really good. Like Boba Fett, like this could replace your Boba Fett if you're like a budget player, obviously. I mean, sure, Boba's obviously a better unit in general, but if you're totally budget, you don't want to drop $150 for Boba Fett's, you could just play this and not feel horrible about it. Because in set 1, there was no replacement for Boba. You weren't finding a 3/5 that was 3 costed anywhere else. So the stats are really nice. And then in other style of strategies, like if you're playing like an aggressive style deck, you could just re-ready this and you can hit for 6. Or if you played it later, you could play it and then play another bounty hunter and it comes out ready in a sense. Yeah, I think this card's actually really solid. Like, it'll probably see play, I would imagine. I feel like it'll have to be kind of bounty hunter specific, but even if not, it's still a 3/5 body. Like, I'd give this one, honestly, probably at least an 8, maybe a 9. Like, I think this card's really good. Which is surprising, because I feel like generally these ones aren't fantastic, but who knows. Moving on, though, you got Hut's Henchman. It is a 4 cost 3/4 with shield. Meh, I guess. I don't know what the point of that is. That's a 3. The shield's nice, sure, but a 3/4 for 4 isn't great. And you got Kragan Gore, which is a 6 cost 6/6 underworld. When an enemy unit attacks your base, give a shield token to a friendly unit in the same arena as the attacker. It's just weird, because why? I don't see a world where you care that if they're hitting your base, you can give your guy a shield. I don't think this is much to write home about. Like every other 6 cost card does more, I feel like, than this. But maybe not every single one, but most other 6 cost cards have better effects than this that make them worth playing, so I don't think this sees much play. However, I could be wrong. Not 100%. We're going to give it a 3, though. Then we got Gideon's Light Crusader, which is an 8-cost ship with Overwhelm, and when played, if you control Moff Gideon as a leader, play a black unit that costs 3 or less from your hand or discard pile for free. It's a 7/8. Basically, it's like the black version of Home 1, but Home 1 has Restore, which is definitely better, and Home 1 you don't have to control Moff Gideon to use it. So it's not a bad card. If you're playing Moff Gideon, it'll be played, I assume, as like your top end. But other than that, it just is kind of a meh card. But who knows? I could be wrong. Like I said, it's probably only seen play in Moff Gideon, I would think, because why would you play an 8-cost villainy ship for if you're not playing Moff Gideon, right? Why would you play an 8-cost villainy ship that's just a 7/8 with Overwhelm when you could play a Relentless, Finalizer? I mean, that's not a great one, I don't think, but a Finalizer, a Devastator, an Avenger. Like, there's so many good villainy ships right now that this one probably wouldn't make the cut in anything other than Moff Gideon. But in Moff Gideon, it's okay. So we're going to give it a 4. And then we got Altering the Deal. It's discard a captured card guarded by a friendly unit. It's okay. I think if you're playing like a very heavy capture deck, it'd be funny to... you wouldn't do it right away, right? But like if you think your guy's gonna die soon, you could just get rid of it, and then they feel like they wasted their time trying to kill it, or things like that. But I don't think capture's that crazy as a mechanic, so don't love it. We're gonna give it a 3. If capture's good, if there's a capture deck, maybe that sees some play, who knows. Then you got No Bargain. 3 cost. Each opponent discards a card from their hand, draw a card. I don't know. It's kind of one of the bad discard. I mean, sure, they get a discard 1, but they get to choose. It's not a random card, whereas that can be better because most people won't discard their best cards, obviously. I don't know. There's better discard cards than this. 2. Moving on, we got the white cards now. We got Kreef Karga. It is a 2-cost 2/2. When played, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an upgrade, reveal it, and draw it. It's kind of like the Mon Mothma of draw cards or upgrades. So maybe you play this if you're playing Mando, but the 2/2 stat line is a big downside, right? I don't know. We'll see. It might make the cut. It might not. We'll give it a 5, I think. Moving on, though, you got Grey Squadron Y-Wing. It's a 2-cost 1/3 spaceship. On attack, an opponent chooses a unit or base they control. You may do 2 damage to it. Don't hate it, don't love it, I guess. It can technically hit for 3 if they don't want to start damaging their stuff. But they could also just take the damage. I've never been a big fan of when your opponent gets to choose. That's just me personally. Because I feel like they always choose the option you don't really want. So, it's not bad. It's playable, I think, but it's not fantastic. We'll give it a 4 or 5. Now we got Protector of the Throne. 3 cost 2/4. While it's upgraded, it gains Sentinel. There's already... I mean, I guess it's a Mandalorian if you're looking for Mandalorian names specifically. But there's already Sentinels that are 2/4. You know, there's Sentinels... I'm pretty positive that there's Sentinels that are 2/4 at this cost or higher, maybe. I don't know. I don't know my Sentinel count as much. There's like Sentinels with 3/3 and stuff like this card's just not it, if you ask me. So we're gonna give that a 2. Maybe if it's Mandalorian, like you need Mandalorian names, that's probably the only time it sees play. Then we got Tech. It's a 3 cost, 2/5. Each friendly resource gains smuggle. The gain smuggle costs that card's cost +2 and its aspect icons, and you can smuggle this for 4. I actually don't totally despise this card. I think it's pretty niche right now, but the fact that you can give any of your resources smuggle, like if you put down stuff that you want to play and you just have a tech, or if you put a tech in there and then you have stuff you want to play, like if you're in like the super late game, like if like big control decks, stuff like that, makes this card decent. Like it'll definitely be, I feel like, more side decked than anything, but I don't know, we'll see how it pans out. It's not the worst, like I said, it's not the worst card I've ever seen. Definitely more niche than the other one. But we're going to give it a 6 optimistically. Really good into control, I would think. But moving on, though, we have Wookiee Warrior. It's a 4 cost, 2/5 with grit, and when played, if you control another Wookiee, draw a card. Not bad, not good. The stat line is pretty rough for a 2/5 for 4. Drawing the extra card's nice, but I don't think. I feel like if it was a 2/6, it'd be better, or a 3/5 or something. Like, I feel like the stats are a little too low for what it is, but who knows? Maybe it's got enough Wookiee synergy to make it worthwhile. But we're going to go with a 3 for me. Then we have Tarful. It is a 7 cost, 3/9 with Restore 2. And when a friendly Wookiee unit is dealt combat damage and isn't defeated, that unit deals that much damage to an enemy ground unit. I don't actually hate this. I mean, it's not necessarily, I don't know, because like you could play this as a standalone, like you don't have to go total Wookiee, right? But most at that point they're just never going to attack your dudes that aren't going to die, right? But that's kind of nice sometimes. It's got Restore, and you're probably never clearing it by battle, right, with 9 HP. So I don't actually think this one's too bad. However, there is a lot of good 7 drops already. So does this take their spot is the question. Cautiously optimistic, I guess. We'll give it a 6. Moving on, we got Mando's Rifle. 3 cost upgrade, +3/+0. When played, if attached unit is the Mandalorian, he captures an exhausted enemy non-leader unit. The fact that it's got to be exhausted kind of sucks, I guess. But like this card is specifically for like Mando leader, I think. You can play it on the Mando unit, but you probably won't. I don't know. It's good enough that it captures something and gives Mando leader +3, so it comes out as a 7/7, right? But it's not too crazy. I've never been a huge fan of upgrades, so I can't say too much, but it's one of the better upgrades, especially for Mando. Obviously, this gets played nowhere near if you don't have Mandalorian, because you're never paying 3 for +3 attack, right? But in Mando specifically, it's solid. It'll see play. So we'll give it a 6, just because it's only for that. Then we got Smuggler's Aid. 1 cost, heal 3 damage from your base. You can smuggle it for 3. I guess it's just another repair, and repair was side deckable. So maybe, I guess. But I don't know. Not a main deck card, I don't think, but maybe side deckable. You could resource it if you draw it early and you don't need the healing, right? And you can play it later for extra, but paying 3 for 3 healing kind of feels bad unless you're desperate. I don't know, it's a 4. Then we got This Is the Way, 2 costs. Search the top 8 cards of your deck for up to 2 Mandalorian and or upgrades. Reveal them and draw them. On those turns where you need to find your units or your stuff, it's not bad, but never been a big fan of spells that search your deck to draw, because it's like you're already paying to do this, so like your turn's probably a little skewed. Maybe they come up later in the game, but oh, yeah, quick sneeze. Maybe they come up later in the game and it doesn't feel as bad. Like if you draw this on, you know, I don't know, 6 resources or something, and you're playing Mando and you play this first and find Mando's rifle, like that's kind of nice, right? Or play it on 7 and find like an armor or something like that, like, but I don't know, it's playable. It's not the worst card I've ever seen, but to me, I think it's like a 5 or 6. The fact that it can get Mando or upgrades, like in Mando deck specifically, this will always probably get you 2 cards, right? You don't have to worry about missing. And then we move on to the colorless. We've got Bounty Guild Initiate. It is when played, if you control another bounty hunter, you may deal 2 damage to a ground unit as a 1 cost to 1/2. I think that's not good. Stats are terrible. Moving on, you got Lady Proxima. When you play another Underworld card, you may deal 1 damage to a base. It's a 0/4, so like your opponent will probably clear this, but it's like it's good damage if it's not dealt with. So like it kind of forces your opponent to attack it. It's almost got like Sentinel in a sense, because if you're playing this, you're probably playing mostly Underworld units, right? And then like I've seen this in aggro lists and things like that, or just in general. Like, I mean, generally it's mostly aggro list things that can play multiple Underworld units or take advantage of Underworld units in general. So I think this card's actually not bad. If there's like an aggro Underworld list where you're just constantly pinging damage to the base, then this will be a mainstay. So I'm gonna give it a 6. Man, we're gonna give it a 7. I like this card. I don't know why. Moving on though, we got Mercenary Gunship, a 2 cost, 3/2 spaceship with action, 4 costs. Take control of this unit. Any player may use this ability. So I actually like this card too, just because not every color has a 3/2 ship that they can play on turn 1. And this gives them that. So you always can have a space answer if you need one. And then you can either clear immediately or whatever. And then if your opponent is paying 4 to take a 3/2 ship from you, then you can either pay 4 and take it back, right? Or you could just not care that they spent 4 to steal a ship, right? I would never upgrade this card. Like if I was, I mean, it's not Rebel, but I'm thinking like Wing Leader and stuff. If this got XP for some reason or shields and stuff like that, then they may be more incentivized to take it. But I think as just an early drop, it's pretty playable. So it's definitely at least a 7 for me, which is, it's weird they actually got some decent colorless stuff this time around, because the first set was kind of rough. Moving on, Mandalorian Warrior. When played, you may give an experience token to another Mandalorian unit. It's definitely a decent Mandalorian card. It's 3/3, which is, you know, pretty average stats for what we've come to expect. I mean, there's obviously better, but it's not the worst. And then you are technically giving your Mandos upgrades in a sense, because an XP is an upgrade and whatnot. So it's definitely good for Mando. Obviously not anything else, but yeah, I don't hate this one either. We're gonna give it a 6/7 just because I think it's playable. It'll probably see some play in Mando style decks. Moving on though, we've got Twin Pod Cloud Car. It's a 3-cost 2/2 spaceship with Restore 2. This card sucks. The Restore 2 is awesome, right? This gets cleared by any turn 1 ship in the game. I don't think there's a single ship that has 1 attack. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's not a ship with 1 attack. So this just immediately gets walked over. Unless your opponent has no space units or only high cost space units, this card will never survive the light of day. So, pretty bad. Maybe in Ray, you could make it a 3/3 on turn 4. Or resource 4 or whatever. Stinker 2. Then we have Street Gang Recruiter. When played, you may return an Underworld card from your discard pile to your hand for 4 Underworld, obviously, I would hope. Not bad, not good. Like, the stats are pretty abysmal, right? You're paying 5 for a 4/4. But you can grab back any card from your discard pile. That's better. Like, I don't think it'll see any real constructed play unless I'm thinking of, like, some freaky combos. But realistically, it'll probably see some, like, draft/sealed play, because if you're playing an Underworld deck, you get a free add back to your hand. You can do funny stuff with this with McClunky, because McClunky is technically an Underworld card, so you could play this, grab it back, attack, return it to your hand, etc. Like, there's funny options there. But other than that, you're probably just grabbing one of your better Underworld units that died if you have to play a bad statted 5 cost. So in draft, it's definitely higher, but in a constructed format, it's probably like a 3 or 4. Then last but certainly not least, we have Rich Reward. Attached unit gains bounty, give an experience token to each of up to 2 units. Is it good? Not necessarily. You're just getting 2 XP for 1, which is okay if you have 2 units on the board. But some decks, maybe just need the bounties if they're playing bounty style decks, and this can be one of those for anybody. So, yeah. I don't know. It's a 5 just because of how flexible it is for decks that need bounties if they don't like their bounties. Yeah, we're gonna go with 5. I'm tripping. But yeah, I think this is a 5. So we're just gonna leave it at that. That's all I got for this one. Let me know if you enjoyed the video and agree with my rankings, or if you have any differing opinions, just leave a comment down below. I thank you guys for watching, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Till next time, peace.